fellow modelers, this is P.J.C. 2.0 and this is my Godzilla kit for the 2025 Memorial Halloween group build on HobbyLink International. And when I got this kit, I found it on eBay and I got it for a good price. And when I received it, it was a bit of a mess. Someone had tried to build it but didn't finish and then just stuck it back in the box. And when I got it, I took it apart, I washed everything, and then just waited till Halloween came around to start building. Now these windows that are marked off are the ones that are going to get cut out, because I'm going to make it look like these buildings are on fire. Okay, now I'm just getting ready to light block the inside of the model. And for that, I am just going to be using black one-shot primer. I'm going to spray the main body and the head and the back piece. Alright, now I'm getting ready to draw out the holes for the LEDs that I'm going to use for the fire effects in the buildings. And I'm going to need to drill out the holes in these two building pieces and then use them like a guide to drill out the holes in the base, that way the holes will line up. Okay, now I got the holes drilled out. Now I'm just cleaning them up. And then I'm going to get ready to test fit the LEDs inside and make sure they fit. And for the lighting in these burning buildings, I'm going to be using red, orange, and yellow flickering LEDs. And then I'm going to enclose them inside of a styrene box that's going to be behind the building pieces. And they will enclose the lighting inside. That way you can only see the lighting coming out through the windows. Alright, now I'm getting ready to drill the windows out of the buildings. Now I'm not going to drill out all of them, just the ones that are marked. You can clearly see them. And to give them a diffused look, I'm going to glue a thin piece of white styrene behind them. And then I'm going to do a test lighting to make sure that the light comes through the thin styrene sheeting pretty good. And if it does, I'm just going to leave it there. And if it don't, I'm just going to take all the styrene sheeting out and just use UV resin. Alright, now I've got all the windows drilled out, and I've got the frame for the styrene box made and glued in. And this is the piece that's going to be the back piece, and it's made of thick styrene. That's all I had, so it'll do. And I'm going to use these scrap pieces of thin styrene I have for the windows to diffuse the lighting. First I'm going to light block the inside. I'm just using one-shot primer to light block the inside of these light boxes. And then I'm going to paint them white, that way it will reflect the lighting. I'm also going to add some silver in there, just as an extra touch. And then once it all dries, I'm going to do a light test. And while that's drying, I'm going to primer the base and get ready to paint it. Now this base, I'm really going to have to get creative when it comes to making this look good. I'm also going to have to get an extra base to sit it on so I can raise it up a little, because there's not enough room down there to hide any electronics or enough room for any buttons and wiring. So I'm going to have to find some wooden base to sit it on. That way I'll have room for any wiring, electronics, or any sound effects board I decide to get for this build. Alright, now while all the primer is drying on the buildings and the base, I'm going to mess with the lighting. And this is the lighting that's going to go inside Godzilla to light his back plates. And I'm just using 2 blue LED strips. And for his fire breath, I'm going to be using a flathead 5mm blue LED. Okay, now I'm just gluing the head together and getting ready to glue the LED inside. Now, when I glue the lower jaw to the head, there's going to be an opening, and that's where I'm trying to place the LED, behind that opening, because that there is going to be where you can see the light shining through and create the effect of his atomic breath. Alright, now I've got the head glued together. Now I'm just gluing on the lower jaw. And, well, there's the light test. Just making sure the light works. And now, let's test the LED. And there we go. As you can see the light shining through that opening. That looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to put it down, let it dry. Now I'm working on the lighting in the main body. These LED strips would not stay down, so I had to hot glue them into place. And then once the hot glue dries, I'm going to glue the 2 halves of the main body together, and then I'm going to test the lighting to make sure that it's working. Now I've decided I'm going to thread the wiring through the left leg. So I had to drill a hole into the main body through the left leg, and then I'm going to thread the wiring through that after I glue the 2 halves of the main body together. Now the 2 halves of the main body are glued together. Now I'm just gluing the left leg on. And there's one downside with this model: there are no connection points to where the pieces are supposed to go together. So you really just gotta hold the pieces in place until the glue dries. Alright, now I'm testing the lighting strips to make sure they work. Yeah, they work pretty good. Those should shine through those clear casted back plates pretty well. Those 2 strips make it look nice and bright. And I can still see some light leaks coming through, so I'm going to hit them with some more glue. And then once all this glue dries, I'm going to glue the head and the tail on. And then going to let it dry overnight. And then I'm going to hit the whole thing with black primer. Okay, now I'm just extending the wiring from the head into the body through the leg. And at this point I realized I made a mistake. I forgot that I had to extend the wiring from the head in the first place. So now I'm going to have to pop that left leg back off just so I can thread the wiring through it. Alright, now I've taken the leg off and now I'm just making another hole in it for the wire. And then once I've got the wire threaded through, I'm going to have to glue that left leg back on. And as I said before, there are no contact points to where the parts are supposed to fit together. You've got to figure out how the part fits together right, and then just glue it into place, and then hold it there until the glue is dried enough to where it'll hold on its own. Alright, now I'm just going to take some black CA glue and spread it on the seam where the 2 halves of the main body were glued together. And then once that is done, I'm going to glue on the back piece and then the head. Okay, now I've got the head, tail, and back piece all glued on. And now I'm just spreading some putty through the seams, using the light to locate any light leaks. And then once I'm done puttying all this up, I'm going to sand it down as best I could. I've already sanded down some of the seams, as you can see. And then I'm going to spray this whole thing down with black primer. Okay, now before I spray this whole thing down with black primer, I've decided I'm going to widen these holes that I've made where the back plates are glued on. And then I'm going to glue on 3 of the clear casted back plates that I've made so far. And then I'm going to do a light test to see how well the light will shine through them. Okay, I've got the instructions out here. But before I glue on 3 of the back plates, I'm going to clean up these holes a little bit more. Just taking an X-Acto knife and a file to clean them up. And then once I'm done with that, I'll glue on 3 of the lower back plates. Alright, now I got the holes cleaned up, and I've got 3 of the back plates glued on. I've hooked up the lighting, so let's see how this looks. That looks pretty good. And because I use super glue to glue these on, I have to hold it a little. But I like how the light is shining through these clear casted back plates. Now I just gotta finish casting all these back plates. And these smaller back plates, I haven't had much of a problem casting them, but the larger ones have had some issues. But I'm gonna keep trying. Okay, now I'm getting ready to paint the base. And as I said before, I'm gonna have to get creative when it comes to painting this and just do the best that I can. So I'm just gonna hit it with a series of black and gray paints and then just do the best that I can. Now that I've got the LEDs installed and glued into place, I'm just going to spray these light boxes with some black paint to light block them. And then I'm going to get ready to paint the buildings. Okay, now that I've got all the seams puttied and sanded down on Godzilla, now I'm just spraying him with a black primer first. And then once that dries, I'm going to hit him with a gray primer. And because Godzilla's skin color is charcoal gray, I'm really going to have to mix what black and gray paint colors I have together to make a dark gray mix. And then I'm just going to hit him with a black wash to darken it up further, because that's really the best I can do. Now I'm getting ready to paint the buildings. But before I do that, I'm going to mask off all these larger windows with this liquid masking. And then I'm going to give it some time to dry. And then I'm going to start painting. Okay, now that I've given the liquid masking some time to dry, I'm going to mask off the 2 side areas on this larger building piece. And then I'm going to paint the center with black. And then I'm going to hit these raised details with a silver paint pen just to add some detail to them. Then I'm going to let all that dry, and then I'm going to remove the masking tape and paint those 2 sides. Okay, now that midsection you just saw me painting on the larger building piece, there are parts of it here on the base. So what I'm going to do is simple. I'm just going to mask them off on their sides, then paint them. And then I'm going to hit the raised detail with a silver paint pen, just like on the main building piece. Here it is. The center section is all dried. I put some extra light blocking just in case. And now I'm just masking off that midsection. Now I'm going to paint the 2 sides with a light gray color. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then move on to the smaller building piece. Okay, I finally found a wooden base to put the main base on top of. And now what I'm doing is just marking out an area where the main base is going to be glued on top of it. Because underneath it is where all the wiring and electronics are going to be hidden. And this wooden base is a simple wooden base that I found in Walmart. I only paid $6 for it. And if I decide to have a sound effects board made for this model, well, now I have a base to hide it under. And now I'm just marking out where the buttons are going to go. And I'm also going to have to cut a channel for them because the buttons I have, they're not small. And now I'm just marking out a section that's going to get cut out. And once that's cut out, I'm going to have to sand this base down real good and then paint it. Okay, what you see me doing here is marking out the area that's going to get cut out. And all this is what I need to cut out. I'd say that's enough room to hide any electronics or sound effects boards. Alright, now I'm just marking out an area where I need to cut a channel for the effects buttons as well as the on and off button. And that is going to be tricky because I need to cut into it without cutting completely through the wood. But I should be able to manage it without too much trouble. I've got some good tools to do this job with. Okay, now that the paint has had a good time to dry, I'm just taking this silver paint marker and painting on the silver details in this midsection of the larger building piece. Now I've already done that to the parts of it that are on the base. And then once I'm done with this, because this won't take very long to dry, and I'm gonna hit the building again with some black paint, just lightly spraying it on to make the building look like it's weathered. Alright, now before I paint any details on this smaller building piece, I'm going to fill in these windows with some UV resin I put in this smaller bottle to more easily control how much resin I'm using. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to paint the windows that are not cut out black, which is what I'm doing right here. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to glue the two building pieces onto the base. Alright, the masking is removed from the smaller building piece, and those painted windows, they look good. And they look good on the larger piece too. So now I'm going to do some more detail work on this base. And some of this you cannot do with an airbrush, you have to use a brush. Now I'm just carefully painting some of the building details. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to lightly spray over them with some black, again, to make them look weathered. Okay, now I'm just lightly spraying over it with some black, just making sure that the spray I'm using is very light. And then once I'm done with this and it's had a good time to dry, I'm going to glue the two building pieces on. Okay, here are the two building pieces glued on. And now I'm getting ready to solder the wiring underneath them together. And then once that's done, I'm going to do a simple light test to see how well it looks. Okay, now I'm gluing all the wiring in place. And then I'm going to add an extra layer of glue to these LEDs to make sure they're good and secure. Even though they're already glued inside the building, I want an extra layer of glue there to make sure they stay in place. And then once I'm done with all this, I'm going to hook the two wires to the two buildings up. And then I'm going to do a simple light test to see how well the fire effect inside the windows looks. Okay, now I've got everything hooked up, and let's see how the lighting looks. Let me turn these overhead lights off. Hey, now that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. It's not 100% perfect, but it doesn't have to be. And now that I've got all this done, I'm going to get back to work on Godzilla and the other half of the base. Alright, now I'm just working on Godzilla's back plates. And these are the ones that came out of the mold looking good. The others, they didn't, so I had to recast them. And now I'm just putting the first layer of light blocking on them. I'm trying not to totally cover them in black paint because I want light to shine through them. And then once I put these aside and let them dry, I'm going to paint Godzilla with the first dark gray mixture I came up with. Alright, this is the first dark gray mixture I'm mixing together. And all I have is the one-shot primer, black and gray, is all I've really got to use. And I suppose that's going to have to do. And now I'm just going to spray the whole body down with this mixture, making sure I get every single inch covered. And then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry overnight. And if it's not dark enough, I'll make another mixture, and then I'll spray the whole model down with that. And if it's dark enough, I'll hit the model with a black wash. And then I'm going to hope that darkens it up even more to give it a close enough look to a charcoal gray-like color. And then I'm going to let it all dry, and then I'm going to continue working on these back plates. Casting the smaller back plates was not much of a problem, but casting these larger ones is proving to be a little bit of a problem, because they're larger than the smaller ones, and the resin, it just isn't going into every single corner of the mold. And every time I cast them, they come out looking terrible. But I'm gonna keep on trying. Okay, now the first coat dried, but it's not dark enough, so I've mixed together another mixture of dark gray, and now I'm just going to spray the whole model down with that and let it dry, and just hope that that is dark enough. Okay, now I'm just spraying down the back plates with this dark gray mix, and then once that dries, I'm going to lightly spray them with the last color that I'm going to paint these back plates with, which is a yellowish, whitish mix, or at least that's the way it's always looked to me, with a touch of light gray blended in. Okay, now I'm working on the display base, or at least the part that's going to hide all the electronics. Unfortunately though, I'm going to have to put the electronics off until after Christmas, because, well, they're just going to cost me a bit. In regards to the Godzilla figure I will be using for this diorama, I might just switch out the kit supplied Godzilla that came in this kit and get that new Godzilla -1 model and swap out this kit's Godzilla figure with that one. Because the figure that this kit came with, every time I tried to cast the back plates in clear, I always had problems with it. And with that Godzilla -1 model, it comes with a set of back plates that are molded in clear, so that should save me some time, and I would finally be able to get this whole thing done. But I haven't made any decision on that yet. I'm just thinking about it. But for right now, I'm just going to end this video with this footage of me working on the display base.